Once upon a time, long before Minecraft and Roblox, there was a magical land filled with pixelated horses and off-brand Beethoven music. I'm talking about Storybook Weaver Deluxe.
Here's what you can expect on today's episode. You're going to install and play the 1994 School Computer Lab classic, Storybook Weaver. We'll explore not only the history of MECC, the company who made the game, but also the gameplay of Storybook Weaver.
What is wrong with him?
The hilarious music and sound effects. And even invite a member of Generation Alpha to try out the game and give their thoughts.
I can't tell if it was cool or terrifying.
Let's dive in.
Storybook Weaver was made by MECC, which were the same masterminds behind the Oregon Trail. MECC stands for the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. And I know that Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium kind of sounds like an obscure tech club in a high school basement, but these guys were actually pioneers. They were blazing the trail. Get it? Like the Oregon Trail? Okay. MECC was founded in 1973 when bell bottoms were big and computers were bigger. MECC's original goal was to help schools in Minnesota. And they soon went national. Schools everywhere started integrating computers into their classroom. And who was there but good old MECC, giving us some of the best childhood gaming experiences one could have. And their most famous work was, of course, the Oregon Trail. But MECC proved that they were not just a one-trick pony. They became the go-to for blending education and fun. And they pumped out software that had us learning history, math, creative writing. And half of us, we didn't even realize that we were learning because we were having fun. So this is actually Storybook Weaver Deluxe. The first version was just Storybook Weaver. I realized that my copy is a little beat up. I like how it says trigger your imagination. I don't know if I want to trigger it. That doesn't sound very good. I wanted it so bad, and I remember when my parents finally got it for me, I had a lot of educational games because they figured, why not? She's learning. Let her play.
Now it's time to talk about our time machine, aka the computer I'm using to take our trip into the past.
This is the Weiss VX0, and it's a tri-boot, so it runs Windows 98, XP, and DOS. All packed in here, and it's so cute. It's so small. The only problem, it's not really so much of a problem, is that I have to hook up an external CD drive to install programs, but that's not a big deal. As far as specs go, this has a screaming 800 megahertz CPU, a whopping 512 megabytes of RAM, and a luxurious 16 gigabyte SSD. So it is about as powerful as your smartphone's alarm clock. So we have the computer, the power adapter, the peripheral mouse, the keyboard, which is also peripheral. I can use a USB mouse or a USB keyboard, of course, with this, but when running some DOS games, I did notice that there were some compatibility issues if I was using a USB keyboard. Now, I know some of you purists are out there shaking your fists at the screen, screaming she's not a real one because she's not using an actual computer from the late 90s or early 2000s, but
yeah, I don't think that ever actually happened. But okay, let's continue.
Don't you worry. I do have some functioning, actual late 90s and early 2000s computers. I will show you that it works and that I can install Storybook Weaver on this thing. I have to get up my energy. First, we're gonna plug this in and then wait 10 years for it to boot up. I'm doing this for you. That's a lie. I'm doing this for me. I do, in fact, like to torture myself. That sound. This is borrowed to me from a friend. This was his actual laptop that he used for school. Thank you, Mikhail. The last time I used this, I loaded this old version of Pro Tools on it and was playing with that. It worked terribly. It was so much fun. This is our disk. Look at how beautiful it is. We have install, run, view readme, connect to web page. Let's go. I'm just gonna keep recording, even though this is boring. So I guess now I'm just gonna sit back and wait. It like just skipped all the way to 100. The installation is complete. You ready? I love this song. Okay, sorry. Let's do Galactic Thrills.
This planet had the best windsurfing in the galaxy.
That was terrifying. Behold, it lives. But for the sake of everyone's sanity, I'm going to head back to my slightly faster, slightly less vintage setup. So now that that's over with, let's install it onto the Weiss. This is likely going to be sped up. I don't know if you want to see me untangling wires. Actually, I lied. The reason that I brought you here today was to do some keyboard ASMR. We're pretty much ready to go. I just need to get OBS on my computer up and running. Another thing to plug in. This is the CD-ROM drive I'm using. All right, let's install. I'm so excited. I'm gonna do maximum performance. We can afford it. Okay, installation is complete. Run Storybook Weaver. Let's do it. Why is it not running? My guess is that there's something wrong with the display settings. We're gonna need to set it to 256. MECC Storybook Weaver. Okay, it's running now. So that was our issue. Oh, and I'm not getting any sound. It's because I'm an idiot. Hold on.
Oops, I forgot to plug the audio cable coming from the computer to capture the sound. Now it's working.
That laughter is going to haunt my dreams. Yikes. We have story starters. That's for if you couldn't think of an idea. You could start here and it would give you the first sentence or the first page so that you could work off of that. I'd create a story. So that's just, you have all the ideas, you're ready to go. We're gonna go with getting started because I wanna see if there's any cool tutorial videos or anything that we can look at.
Welcome to the Storybook Weaver Getting Started Tour. Let's make a story. This is the title page. Let's write about bears. This space is for your
Book about bears with a butterfly border. That's what Storybook Weaver was all about.
Or a note about the author. Hey, the author, that's you.
Now let's try to create our own story and see what happens.
This is where we make our title. I don't even know what to call it yet, so I don't even want to go there. But what I do know is that you could decorate it. You could choose a background border or just leave it plain. Of course, I always erred on the more ominous, mysterious side for my stories. We pick some background music. This was one of my most used ones. Once again, going with the ominous, mysterious tone. See, like this was too happy for me. We have our backgrounds, of which they are plentiful and detailed. And what's cool is you can actually pick a top and a different bottom. This is cool. This is like an old mall. What I like here is that we have a really great mix of historical settings, natural settings, and more sci-fi settings. So let's say you want to write a heartwarming story about a knight saving a kitten from a burning building. I sped this part up because you do not need to see me going through 1,000 different background combinations. Now I am picking out my objects. I decided to do a burning tree instead of a burning building. There's my kitten, and here is my warrior. Let's give him a sound effect. So you could click on an object, and you could click a sound effect.
Aha!
Aha! Okay. That's the one.
I ended up playing with Storybook Weaver for a few hours, and it would take too long to show you everything. So here are some highlights.
They've sworn their tiny butterfly allegiance to this unicorn for reasons that will remain unexplained. Before heading out on the Oregon Trail, we bought lots of supplies. I like to think that they strike fear into the hearts of anyone foolish enough to challenge the Unicorn King's reign. Plus, who's gonna battle a baby army? It's an unbeatable strategy. The demographic for Storybook Weaver was kids about 6 to 12 years old, which is about the age range of most kids who are Generation Alpha right now. And so that led me to wonder, would a Generation Alpha kid appreciate Storybook Weaver? Let's find out. Today we're watching a member of Generation Alpha trying out a computer game that was released 20 years before they were even born.
I can't tell if that was cool or terrifying.
She quickly finds her way around the game's interface with virtually no engagement from our interviewer or camera crew.
Oh, okay.
The game has piqued her curiosity.
Transforming forest.
Despite growing up around screens, this member of Gen A finds the text-to-speech fascinating.
Okay, I really loved it. It was hilarious with the text-to-speech. That was actually an experience you can't get from the newer devices. That was an experience that I will always remember, rather than just playing Roblox.
And now back to our regularly scheduled When I was a kid, I spent countless hours on our computer in the living room, writing stories, but I often found myself dreaming that I could be in the story. That's one feature that I felt Storybook Weaver lacked, was the ability to insert your own images or photos, because I wanted to be in the adventure. But it is now 2024, and I could use the power of a green screen and some editing to fulfill my childhood dream of being in the game.
Hi. Here I am in Storybook Weaver. If you're looking for a fun vintage game to write some stories with, check it out. But you don't have to take my word for it.
That sequence alone took me hours of editing, but at least it was extremely worth it. One thing that I didn't look at was the README file on the disk. Let's view the README file. I'm just curious. You needed a 486 or higher processor. You needed a hard drive. And I love that that is specified. Wait. There is a section in this README file that says importing scanned images. Hold on. What? So I did all that work with the green screen and the editing to put myself in the game, just to find out now, after 30 years, that you can indeed import scanned images. Well, now we gotta do it.
But first, I need to find the best way to get the images I want to use from my current computer to the Windows 98 computer.
Let's put them on a floppy disk. So we're gonna take my trusty external floppy disk reader and plug it into my computer and see what happens.
According to the help section in Storybook Weaver, we need to make an 8-bit bitmap version of the image we want to use. We then need to open the image in Microsoft Paint, select it, and then we can just paste it into the object editor of Storybook Weaver.
And there I am. I am in the story. There I am at the circus taking a selfie from 1994. I'm so happy with myself right now. So there you have it. You can actually put yourself into Storybook Weaver. My childhood dreams have come true in more than one way today. That's it for today, but instead of my regular outro, I figured it would be best to let Storybook Weaver work its magic. So here it is.
Thank you for watching Crazy Heart's amazing emporium of total retro madness, and sometimes other things too.